hello, and welcome. I'm Peggy. Thank you for letting us share a part of your day. And I am very pleased to welcome a person. I've only had a chance to speak with her a few minutes before we went on the air, but she's a delight, and I'm delighted to welcome.
Thank you.
If I can get your name right, Oyinkan Akinmade.
That's right.
Sounds musical.
Yes, it does.
Now, you are originally, you were born in Nigeria.
Correct.
And now you make your home in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Yes.
And you are a motivational speaker.
Yep. Correct.
And so you go into businesses, schools, churches, and you're a Christian.
I'm a Christian, yes.
Well, all right, I think that says it all. So now, tell me, we're delighted to have you here today. Talking about speaking and presenting yourself, there's a great difference in being confident in what you can do and what job training or whatever you can bring to the job, being confident and being arrogant.
That's correct.
And arrogance turns people off.
Definitely. So the way I say it is confidence is taking actions. And what actions am I talking about? If you're skilled, you're knowledgeable, and you have a job, then do it, and do it proudly. You know, give your best. And that's what confidence is. Arrogance, on the other hand, is thinking you're on top of the world, you're the best, you're all in all. So they're two completely different things. You know, confidence is not an absence of fear. That's how I define it. But it's the demonstration of an action that you take wherever you are. So sometimes you're fearful of something, you're fearful of the outcome, you're wondering, can you do this job well? But if you think about it, that I've got the skill, I've got the knowledge, I've got the experience, I bring my intellect, I bring myself to this job, then go ahead and do it. That's what confidence is taking actions.
Now obviously you do go to speak at various places and encouraging people.
Yes.
And do you think that that's something people hesitate, they hesitate to present themselves in a positive way?
Yes, I met with people and there's this holdback. Mm-hmm. And it's normal to have holdbacks, but it's dangerous for you to be held back. Because when you're held back, you're not able to show what you can do. And if you're not able to show what you can do, other people can't see it in you. So you bring a lot of value to the table. You bring a lot of experience. There's so much you bring to the table. And if you hold yourself back because you're not confident, then it's a disservice to you. It's a disservice to the people that you work with. And really, it's a disservice to God, because He created you to excel. He created you to have dominion. He wants you to do the best you can when you can.
Now, when I'm thinking particularly of young people, it's important for them to be confident in themselves. High school age young people, it's a difficult world out there, and they're facing probably more than we've ever thought of before in the workplace.
It's true.
Complications and.
I was privileged to speak with a group of young high schoolers. Actually, they're from like 9th grade up until 12th grade. Yeah. And I asked them, how many of you, if you're asked something or to describe something or to demonstrate something that you know, will do it? And no one could raise their hand up.
Really?
Not one. And I was like, why do that? And this particular group I was talking to were actually females. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, you know, they weren't, I don't know. And that's what I'm talking about, because if you're supposed to get the skills, you already know them, how will they know you do if you're not speaking out, if you're not showing it, if you're not demonstrating it? Okay. So it is a big deal. It's a big problem.
So you think they hold back? They have ability, but they're afraid to present it.
I asked them, did you know these things? And they were affirmative, like, yes. I'm like, so what held you back? Why did you keep quiet? Like, well, you know, they weren't, they couldn't really explain why. And it's funny because it was in a classroom where they're allowed to not know things, and yet they couldn't even speak out in a setting that they're comfortable in.
How did you reach the point where you are now a motivational speaker. You go around and you try to help other people to become confident. How did you get into this?
I remember graduating college, and my first degree is in physical therapy, by the way. But I remember graduating college, and I was working somewhere. This was years back, and I made up my mind that I wasn't going to gossip. I was going to do my job well. You know, I just had these ideals. I was just going to be the best. And it started from there, because while I was there, people would say things and I'll walk away. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that. We had a boss that was perceived to be difficult, but I didn't think so. I just felt she was doing her job, and I would do my job, and I would just approach her on things, and we got along. So when my time there was over, my boss actually told me that, how did you do it? I was like, I was just doing my job. I was just doing what I knew how to do, and that was it. So it started there, and over the years, and I graduated in 2004. So over the years, I've worked in different places. I've met with different people, and I found out that there is this common problem that is in the workplace, with people thinking negatively about situations, not, you know, building the relationships that would help them become better, not demonstrating their worth, their value. And that was what pushed me, not push, because I encouraged them by the side. I kind of give them tips on how to communicate, how to ask for the things they wanted, how to negotiate. Negotiation isn't just about salaries now, but, you know, negotiating different things that you want. And that was what brought me, and I enjoyed doing it so much. I was like, yeah, I helped on today. I talked to this person, and I felt, you know what? If I had so much joy doing that, then I should do it full time.
Now, right now, you go around and speak.
Yes.
To groups.
Yes.
And you try to present this message, and you are a Christian. Do you mention anything about being a Christian in the workplace?
No, I do not.
Okay.
You know, the Bible says something that by your works you shall know them. When people come to me, I just speak to them. You know, it's a principle that works, whether you're a Christian or not, right? But when I get to know them, then I can gradually start to tell them, you know what, if you're having some challenges, then you know you could always pray about it. And it starts there. But first of all, I tell them what I have to offer, what the message God has placed in my heart to offer them. And from building those relationships, then I can talk to them about other things. But no, I don't primarily tell them, oh, I'm a Christian and this is how you should do it.
Okay, but by doing your work the very best you know how, and then that kind of sets the stage where people will come to you.
It does, because it's about building relationships. When you build relationships, there is trust. When there is trust, there is openness. So you can reach them in every way. I had a struggle, I must be honest, when I was going to start this, because I was like, God, I want you to be first. I want it to be obvious. And for whatever reason, I came across a lot of readings about people that had done great things that weren't known primarily as Christians, but because of the work that they did, they were able to provide for the families of the people that worked for them, offer stability, and when there was stability, it was easy to relate to them. So I got solace in the fact that if I'm doing what God wants me to do, that's all I need to do. I don't have to, you know, make it happen, or, you know, I just have to do what God tells me to do. And for me, it's motivating people, anyone that wants to hear that message.
So your idea is, and what you try to promote, if I'm reading this right, that you do the very best job in whatever it is you do the best that you can do.
Yes.
And that people, because of that, you don't have to sit around and say, oh, I'm great, I did this and
yes.
that. It registers and people know that.
Yes, your
and then
excellence.
They seek you out.
Yes.
And that's an important message, I think, to give to young people. Do you ever speak to young people's groups, high school groups, college groups?
I haven't done a lot of that. I've had the opportunity to speak with a few high schoolers. I also approached the elementary school my daughter goes to see how I can help them, but we're still working that out. But to anyone that wants to hear this, it's relevant to everybody. And it's an issue that would make you, it will give you satisfaction. You know, when you're confident, when you have these relationships, you don't feel like anyone is ignoring you. You don't feel undervalued because you have the relationship, you can communicate. You don't feel like you're ignored. Your voice matters. A lot of problems at the workplace is people feeling dissatisfied, like they're irrelevant. But when you're confident, when you employ the skills that I talk about, then you don't feel that as much. And you're able to, enjoy where you are while you plan to go to a better place if that's what is in the
Okay,
job
now
for
you mentioned the skills that you talk about.
Yes.
What are those skills that so that we can all kind of pick up on things, because we're always in the process of learning and maturing, and if we ever reach the point in life where we can't learn something, you might as well be dead. I mean, every day is a chance to learn something different, whatever you do in life.
So some of the skills that I'm talking about are communication skills, speaking in the language of your audience. So if I'm going to speak with an HR manager and I have an idea, I want to tell her something like, listen, I have something that would improve job satisfaction or that would improve employee retention. So I'm speaking in the words that resonate with her. And she's like, oh, employee retention, that's my domain. If I'm speaking to a business owner and I have an idea, I want to tell her I have what would help the bottom line. I have what will cut costs. Or, so you want to speak in the language that they resonate with, because if they can't understand you, they won't listen. They would listen to you, but it comes in one ear and it goes out the other ear because you're not speaking the same language. So for me, one of the things I encourage people is in communication, body language. If you're open, if you're closed up, people will think you're defensive. But if you're open and you speak in the language the other person understands, then they would open up to you and they'll be interested in what you have to say. Now, you may not always have your way, but at least you've had the opportunity to communicate with them, to listen to what they have to say when you offer your proposals or your suggestions. So if you're going to go away with one thing, is to learn to speak in the language of your audience, wherever you're speaking to the group.
Yeah, and sometimes I've heard people say, well, I stopped bothering because nobody listens to me. And if you have something to bring to the table, in your job, in your home, whatever, your neighbors, you shouldn't hold back. But it's one thing to be confident. It's another thing to be arrogant.
Oh, they're two different things. And people tell me that a lot, that no one listened to me. I'm like, are you complaining or you're making a suggestion?
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Nobody listens to me. I've heard people say that.
Oh, all the time.
Nobody listens to me, so I might as well just not bother.
All the time. And I ask, what did you tell them? Like, oh, it's so hard. Oh, it's so difficult. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's so hard. But that's just a complaint. So frame your complaints, because your complaint stems from a desire to see a change, right? So put the change in the form of a solution that you can present. So don't go back and say, oh, this is so hard. Why don't you go and say, look, I've found a way that we can make things easier so that our production is faster, or something in that light. Not that, oh, this is so hard. You're complaining. No one wants someone complaining to them all the time. And
what I get from this is just turn the page. Don't be negative. Find a way to be positive, even if a situation maybe isn't what you want it to be. If you can find something positive, that's a better way to go.
A better way. And think about it from the other perspective. So if you're going to meet someone about something, is it something they can manage? Is it something they can change? If it is, then how can you place it in such a way, like I said, communicate it in such a way that they can understand and they can take actions? So you need to turn the table the other way. If it was the other way around, is there anything that can be done about it? Because sometimes there's nothing we can do about some things. And if you feel there's something that can be done and nothing is being done, it causes like a dissatisfaction, a contempt in the heart of that person. And it starts to show.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so stay with us.